check. We not take back no check. You pep talk. Tiggity check. Hey girl, let's lay the shot. We know say why. You don't want the drama. When Tyson rise up the llama, say to pray at night with your father.
Pacquiao get knocked out cold. 2 minutes, 59 seconds in the sixth round. Snoring. December 8th, 2012. Snoring. Like Smoke said, snoring. He was out for about 2 minutes, maybe three, maybe even damn three. The man has been, look, so could you get worse than that? And that's when he was still fairly active. You know what I'm saying? Well, I mean, he's always been active. He's Pacquiao, but I don't want to misrepresent the man. But he got knocked out, dude. You know how long ago that was? Shit, that was 9 years ago. No, sorry. Where's my math? 8 to 18, 10 years. Sorry.
He looked like Nate Robinson.
14 years ago.
He looked like Nate Robinson.
Yeah. So he was out cold over a decade ago.
Yeah.
I didn't become a Pacquiao fan until the Keith Thurman fight. Like I was never. I like skills, right? I like defensive guys, right? I like guys who protect their wigs, who like to hit and not get hit. I like that kind of stuff, right? So Pacquiao wasn't really stylistically my guy, but I really liked what he did in the Thurman fight. He was head fainting Thurman into paralysis. Loved that performance. Absolutely loved it. But even as a guy who never really appreciated Pacquiao, he was never no damn Nate Robinson. Like, stop that.
No. I'm just saying the position of how his body is lining, like how Nate Robinson.
Yeah. He was. They were both getting some good rest. Yeah, they were getting good rest.
Yeah. That's why. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Batman.
Okay, here we go. All right, Rick Glacier. Okay, a fight at hashtag Heyman / hashtag PBC tried to make the IBF eliminator between Deontay Wilder and Charles Martin has fallen apart as Wilder demanded money not printable since Wilder was KO'd by Tyson Fury and lost his title. Another example of Wilder not fighting. So, anyway.
Right. So if you can get another one, and this is just me, right? And this is, again, when it comes down to the media literacy of it all. Rick Glazier, specifically, that guy, to me, is not a credible source. That's all. But people can take whatever they want from it. I don't go by what Rick Glazier said just because he's said a bunch of stuff that later on wasn't corroborated by anybody. And I think that he comes from a position of, he just has a particular agenda. He thinks fighters should have promoters, and it's his particular, he's bent on it. Yeah, he's not really down for these self-promoted fighters and whatever. This is Rick Glazier's thing. To me, Rick Glazier is not one of those guys. He is the voice of guys not being self-promoters.
Okay, so is Deontay Wilder? So is Deontay Wilder a self-promoting fighter?
He self-promoted that fight, right? I mean, he's got the Bomb Squad promotions. He co-promoted both Fury fights. I think every fight since the Fury fight, he's had his own promotional thing. He's like one of those guys on the PBC, like Man Down and Lion's Den, or I think, what is it?
Lions Only.
Robert Plant has his own now. Sweet Hands or something. Whatever. Those guys come up with their own thing. That's how they rock over there.
Okay, they just have one advisor that's pretty much telling them what to do, but not what to do.
Well, I mean, so Al Heyman, if you know that guy's background, he came from the music biz, so he understands the venues, right? He came with the venues and the corporate sponsorship, so that's really what his thing is. But he also has a business degree, so financial literacy. When he was at Golden Boy, he was there. He was the financial advisor there, like telling fighters what to do and all that stuff. But the guy's not really a promoter, and he managed a couple guys, and he still manages a couple guys, but I think mostly he understands the corporate side of it and the venue side of it, not necessarily the nuts and bolts of the boxing part of it, right? I think he has people that work on that part.
So that's what like the two managers, well, the half manager and JD's or whatever, half manager slash trainer and Shelly Finkel. That's for, huh?
Yeah, well, you get that a lot. Like when you get, you know, this about boxing. Like a guy walks into a gym, the trainer will take a management position in him, but the trainer is really like kind of a trainer. And they'll, if the guy actually pans out, you may farm him out to a better trainer or a better manager. You get your, your promotional deals, all that stuff. Like, but just a quick note on these guys who are self promoted. They don't really seem to have a lot of talent when it comes to the promotion part of it. And it seems like they're just cutting out part of the middleman. That's just my own personal take on it.
Well, he had so the last
pieces. It's amazing.
so the last promoter was Lou DeBella, right?
Yes.
Say again.
So the last promoter Deontay Wilder had was Lou DeBella, which was what, 19?
No, I think he worked with Tom Brown too. I think as soon as Lou DeBella stopped working with Lou DeBella. Yeah, Tom Brown, right? Or Tim Brown, yeah.
I thought it was Tim Brown. Yeah, Tim Brown.
All right,
yeah,
LGB.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The TGB promotions.
Mm-hmm.
But you can look it up.
Right.
We can look it up.
So
see, here's the thing. Phil, I'm very clear about the terms that I use and how I'm using them. But I think that I'm not hearing how you guys are defining excuses, because maybe that's what the issue is. Because if you're going to put something like that up there, I need to understand what you mean by excuse. Because nothing I'm saying is an excuse, actually. And from where I'm sitting. So maybe you guys can clear this up. What do you mean when you say excuse?
No, when you basically that's
not backed up by facts, like what Wilder said, that obviously he feels that Kenny Bayless was drunk, and Mark Breeden spiked his water. So there's no facts of that. So if it's not backed by facts, it's just an excuse.
Well, I mean, what's your take on that in itself? Him and Kenny Bayless, because that's something that Wilder said about Kenny Bayless. Crabs in the barrel.
I think Kenny Bayless,
against you, black man.
Right. So I thought, again, and I've said this already twice, I'll say it again. I think the stoppage was a good stoppage. To me, on the night, it seemed as though Wilder was injured. Right. So there's no reason to stop that fight. However, I also think that Kenny Bayless didn't do that great a job.
Why?
Okay. Yeah, that's a good question.
The warnings, there was to me, there was just excessive fouling and not enough warning about it.
By whom, though?
By Fury in the clinch.
Fury.
Okay. Well, I mean, he deducted a point. So what else?
I'm saying, but right. He deducted a point later on, right? But I thought it should have happened sooner, and I thought he should have actually warned the guy sooner and also harder.
Doesn't matter.
Oh, he did. Well, no, he did. No, he did. He just.
I didn't say he didn't do it. I said he should have done it sooner. Not that he didn't do it at all.
So.
All right. Well.
Okay. Well, he definitely couldn't be. He definitely couldn't have been being biased on the Fury side, deducting a point for Fury.
Oh, I mean, I don't think anything like that. Like I don't think that Kenny Bayless was in the tank for him. I think Kenny Bayless might be a little bit past it. But whatever. That's like blaming the refs for all right. So.
Yeah, Wilder said that he was drunk because he could smell alcohol on him. So
Oh well, there was that time when they were talking about giving refs drug tests and everybody was like, the whole thing.
Bayless was tested. Bayless was tested as well, though.
Well, that's a little.
I thought they just floated the idea, but nothing really came of it. But if it did, then okay.
Crazy, actually.
He was tested for alcohol.
Okay.
Alcohol.
Okay.
Came up clean. He wouldn't have been able to have even ref the fight. But if the whole conspiracy thing was what Wilder's saying, that they was all in on it, so he tested positive for alcohol, and they just let him still referee the fight.
Well, Smoke, this is my thing. With when you're dealing with the referee. Like Kenny Bayless, you're like he could have cautioned Fury. Yeah, he could have cautioned Fury louder. But I mean, he does have a voice. Kenny Bayless does get crunk from time to time. You say he was passive, but he's kind of an aggressive referee, don't you think?
Yeah.
I mean, he has been historically, but like his last few outings, they haven't been good. Like he did the top rank card like last week. It wasn't like I don't know. The guy, I think, is just past it.
Okay,
Really, when it
so
comes down to it.
all right, in this second fight, talking about who he should have uh, gave a stern warning to. Did he warn Tyson? Did he warn Deontay Wilder about all those hits by the head when they were in the clinch?
So I would
No,
have to go back. I would have to go back and see what you're talking about
Please
because I
do.
didn't see
Please
that.
do.
you can do it now.
What I
You can
saw
do it
was Tyson
now.
Fury. What I saw was Tyson Fury leaning on the guy. So it
Yeah,
to
You
he
me
was
can do
doing
it
that.
now.
Headlocks,
it would
leaning.
be right
Yep.
exactly. So it's not really possible to hit somebody behind the head from that position.
No,
So
no,
I
no,
need to
no.
see.
I'm not saying that. Well, I'm not saying at that time.
No.
But look, there were just I don't. I'm not going to say just as many. Wilder. If you know anything about what you watch Wilder fights, you've never seen
Yeah,
Wilder hit nobody behind the head ever.
of course I have.
He does that all. He did that in Ortiz, the first fight at least. He didn't really have a chance to do it in the second fight,
Right, but
but the first
that is
fight.
a separate. Okay, so right,
All
so
right, all right. I'm just saying the history
you
of it.
guys have got,
All
but
right, let's go
we're
back.
talking about different things now, right? We're
Cool.
talking
No,
like
no, we're talking about the same shit. The
okay,
same shit because he's doing the
okay,
same
I'll
shit.
tell you how we're talking about different things. I'll tell you how
No,
we're
we're
talking about
not.
different things.
No, we're not. How
I'll
you
tell you
figure
how.
that?
Okay, I'm trying to tell you how we're talking about the same things about different things, right? So
Okay.
the idea that Wilder was punching Fury in the head
Behind
in
the
the
head.
clinch
Yeah.
behind the head in the clinch is totally different than whether or not he's ever punched somebody in the head behind the head ever, right? So
Okay.
right. So yes, he punched Ortiz behind the head, but it wasn't from a clinch.
Okay. But this was.
Right, so that's what I'm saying. I don't know the instances that you're talking about. What I saw, most of the clinching was initiated by Fury, and he was pushing his head down. I don't
Okay.
remember these rabbit punches.
You
I
need
will
to.
say to
I'm
you,
going to
I
tell
will
you.
say to you that
Yeah.
I just of the fights of the last weekend. I definitely saw a bunch of that happening in a bunch of fights where guys would clinch and hit dudes in the back of the head. And the warnings came; they were like kind of lukewarm warnings, but you do get warnings. They're not necessarily hard warnings. Like that kind of clinch hitting in the back of the head that happens tons, right? And yeah, and guys get warning for it as they should.
Okay. Well, I know those fights we were talking about. Forget the Ortiz fight. You're right. We need to stay on this fight. This particular fight. You need to watch that again. So because I can't talk about something you didn't see.
He could check it out now while on. He could put it on his phone.
Right, well, I mean, but he wants me to look through 7 rounds of it, right? So I mean, I'm not gonna. I am not saying that what he's saying is wrong. I'm just saying that that's not what I witnessed. I didn't witness Wilder punching Fury behind the head from in the clinch. I just didn't see that. Right?
Okay. So I mean,
I
because
did. I did.
that was something that I noticed. But see, the thing is,
So
I know the history and I know the tendencies or the habits that Wilder does, and he does those from fight to fight. If he's not an inside fighter, he's a long range fighter. So
Yes.
if he cannot catch you, and this is what was happening. Fury was beating him to the punch. Either if he would put him in that headlock or whatever, or you put his head down and lean on him. We already know that. You've seen that, right? We seen that.
Mm-hmm.
But when they were clinching, they either if Wilder was still swinging, I mean, if Wilder and Fury was still swinging, Deontay Wilder would give him a whack in the back of the head because there was nowhere to hit him. So you know how fighters they frustrate
Yeah,
if they're
yeah, yeah,
frustrated.
yeah, yeah. That's what I'm saying. I know that happens a bunch. I just didn't see that was happening in that particular fight. It seems that to me, one of the reasons why Wilder isn't an inside fight. I mean, besides the skill thing, the dude's got really long arms. The mechanics of the way that guy fights. I don't see him generating a lot of power from being up close.
how do
Right?
you know? How can you say that this is not fact? You said you're going from the place of
I
fact.
just
That,
I'm
that's
literally
not
saying
an
what my opinion
assumption.
is, but I'm
No, but
talking about
that's
my
not an
opinion right now.
assumption. You can't talk about unless you, like you said to us, you're going to get
Right,
people that
but
specify
lady
that.
Shan,
No, no, but
what I said
we're
is
not going to play by the rules. We're going to play by all rules across the board. Smoke can't be.
Well,
Okay,
I mean,
great. So
if it's
the
it's
issue
his
that
opinion.
we're having is when I say when I'm giving my opinion, I say that I'm giving my opinion. When I'm saying that's a fact, I differentiate when I say what my opinion is and what a fact is. In my
I'm waiting for
opinion,
you to say a fact. That's what I'm still waiting for.
I mean, my fact about what? The fact is, I didn't see what Kurt is talking about.
Anything on the topic of Wilder, I haven't heard you say any facts.
Okay,
I didn't
great.
hear it. Can you tell me your opinion
So
again?
I think that
Can you
other
tell
people
me-
have heard me say some facts, but maybe you haven't.
All right.
I haven't, because I can see the comments.
Smoke.
I haven't, but go on. Sorry. That's a fact.
Smoke.
They haven't.
Okay, you know what's a fact?
Smoke.
Since I've been watching boxing, the sanctioning bodies have increased 100%. That is a fact.
That's a
Do you want me to
fact.
say something? A fact about Wilder? Wilder may believe, but everything that Wilder says, he may believe to be true.
That may be a fact. May not. We don't know. But yeah, that's a possibility.
Yeah, I mean that's something we'll never. That's something we'll never.
That's a possibility.
Yeah, we'll never know
that's-
that.
That's a possibility. It's not a fact.
Right. Great. Another thing that's a fact is that both sides said that the reason why the trilogy didn't happen was because of the scheduling for the networks.
That's a fact that they both said that, but it doesn't mean that's a fact. That was
correct.
why.
Correct. That's why I said
that was definitely a fact.
That's
That
why I
was
said it the way
definitely
I
a
said
fact
it.
about a. Yeah, it was definitely a fact about it.
That doesn't mean it's
about a particular
that it was.
about a particular attempt for that fight. Yeah, that was one of the issues. So yeah, that's a fact that was an issue between the networks.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So
right. Correct. That's
right.
what I'm just if we want to go through all the facts just so we can refresh our memories about the facts that I've pointed out about this whole thing, so it doesn't come across that I'm just talking about my opinions and presenting them as facts the way that I accuse you guys of doing, we can go through all this stuff. Right?
Okay. So So Smoke, what did you say? What did you say about when you don't generate power when you're in a clinch? Is that what you said?
No, I was saying that it seems to me that Wilder's the way that guy fights, he doesn't necessarily generate a bunch of power when he's close, right? So
I believe that to be true.
Yeah, right. So the whole clinching thing, hitting it. No, I know. I'm just talking about my opinion from what I've seen. I'm not taking any punches from Wilder, so it's very convenient for me to say, hey, he's not generating a lot of power up close when I'm not the one taking the punches, right? I'm just talking about from what I'm looking at. It seems like his long, gangly ass arms, he hasn't figured out the mechanics of generating a bunch of power up close.
Well, I mean, that's a lot of fighters, though. I mean, that's just okay.
Yeah, I know.
One of the reasons why, let's say a fighter like Elis Lara, right? That's why Lara will never be like a Floyd because he has longer arms. He has the Conor McGregor-like arms. He's not going to be a technically really gifted inside fighter with arms like that. The physicality won't allow him to. You know what I'm saying?
That's the only point I'm making. Yeah, that's the only point I'm making.
Yeah. So Wilder, he's not gonna have that type of power he has from a long range because he's a long range fighter. He's long and lanky, oblong, strong, but long and lanky or whatever, thin, the thin cat. But what I'm saying is, look at that fight again and count, because this is what I did. I did that. We're live. I did it with, hey, I counted every foul from each guy.
I was on your live.
Right. So, and you notice, anytime you hit someone in a clinch, pop, 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 he was whacking behind the head because he couldn't figure out how to hit this guy. It might have been frustration or whatever. I'm pretty sure it was. But it didn't stop it from actually happening. It happened. So, and then I didn't see. Well, what I'm saying is, I know you're gonna check it out. So when you check it out, just I'm just giving this to you before I conclude. It's like you didn't see Kenny Bayless say anything towards Wilder about anything. So that's why I'm like, okay, well, where was your refereeing, towards both fighters? I just seen it was towards Fury because he did tell Fury, hey, I'm gonna start deducting points. Now he could have said that louder. He could have. But he did what he said he was going to do. I thought it was kind of out of the blue, me personally, because the fifth round, I'm like, what the hell is he doing? 1 point. 1 point, I'm like, okay, well, what the hell? But again, that was one of the things that Wilder said. And at this point, where all the things that he thinks, either he believes that shit or not, it's got to come from some kind of delusion at this point. Because you can't have that many and all of them be on point. And that's my problem with a lot of these channels. Like these guys, they don't have their own opinion. Like you have your own opinion. I see you. Well, I don't believe that. So I'm not putting you there. But what I'm saying is there's channels out there that will agree on every particular thing that was said. And I'm like, well, you believe everything? You know what I mean? Without just really thinking about the facts. Now, as far as the test findings and stuff, I just heard that today. So that, that blew my mind about him having anything in his system. And then if that's the case, why is he up for review? Because you have to go up for review if, you know what I mean, if you have some type of finding, you know.
Yeah, definitely, man. I got questions. Listen, I have definite questions. I wanted to understand what the substance was. Was it a banned substance? Is that why it wasn't? Is it about trace amounts of a substance? Like, it seems to me that what he is, the underpinnings of his accusation, right, needs some investigation, right? I need to
Right.
understand what this toxin is about. I need to understand what this doctor actually said. So then I can actually come with a conclusion, because what he threw out there has more questions. I can't actually make a determination. I just need to
Yeah.
know.
Well, see, the thing is, based on what he's saying versus what we know. See, I'm like this. If Wilder, because there's been enough things that's been said about Wilder to me, if he can't supply that, and I know damn well, and we both know. Look, even Jarrell Miller had minute traces of something, and boom, he got popped. Right? So, and that was minute. It was very, 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 very little
Right.
amount.
Very little amount.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but those are banned substances, right? So,
Well, if
so let's see. So let's see if what this muscle relaxer that he's talking about is actually even a banned substance.
well, I mean, it has to be a banned
Well,
substance. You can't have
anything that
any.
isn't declared,
I don't
Listen,
know.
anything that isn't declared is it's
smoke.
going to
You
be
can't have. Yeah, anything that's not declared, right? So, if, in other words, if he had a shot, he had to clear that shot of having. Hey, look. By the way, guys, he got to sign that waiver of the
Yeah.
things that he took or the injuries that he had. Okay, that's how they pop Manny Pacquiao's.
That's
That's
how
how they
with
pop.
Ortiz. And Ortiz, he
Well,
didn't
that's all right.
declare
That's a different
about his
thing.
high blood pressure tablets, pills.
Right, exactly.
So it popped dirty. If he had declared it, Varda would have cleared it.
Well, see, what I'm saying is that's how they got Manny, because how Manny got himself. Remember, he was like, my son, in the Floyd fight.
Yeah.
And he didn't, and they were like, well, no, Manny, you had to select what was wrong with you prior to the fight. So if you're using that as an excuse, which Floyd didn't care for, by the way, he's like, I ain't gonna fall for that. I mean, you threw that punch enough, which, that was an excuse.
Yeah, of
You
course.
see what I'm saying? That's what you call an excuse, something
Yeah.
that you're alluding to, except he was better than me. He was faster. He threw the right hand. He countered me, and I couldn't catch him like I wanted to. That was the whole gist of the Floyd versus Mayweather fight. That
Right.
was what it was. I caught him a couple times with my left, but it wasn't enough. That's that.
Right.
So if you see anything to me, Smoke, anything that doesn't concern me and that other fighter and what we did in the ring is an excuse.
Right.
That's
So,
it.
right. So so Manny was saying that the reason why he lost was because he had a shoulder injury, right?
Right.
Wilder is
Right.
asking this. Wilder is saying the reason why he didn't feel like himself was because of the costume, right?
Right.
These are materially different things. You do
Yeah.
understand that, right?
Now, those are different things materially, but they all mean the same. He was saying that I'm not the same because of that particular costume.
Right. But one guy is saying, okay, so just to even go back to the Kenny Bayless thing, right? So I think that we can critique Kenny Bayless without saying that is the reason why Wilder lost. I don't think Wilder
Yeah,
lost.
we can definitely X him out.
Right. I don't think that the reason why Wilder lost was because of what Kenny Bayless did, right?
Right.
When you need the ref to bail you out, that means you're not doing enough to make the ref have to do something, right? So
Right.
if he is doing excessive fouling, then guess what? I am of the mindset that you should foul that dude back. That's the way I get down. Like Andre Ward style. I'm not gonna let the reason why I lose a fight be because I'm trying to play Pollyanna by the rules, while this other guy is running roughshod all through my kitchen. Like, nah,
Yeah.
if you're gonna come in my kitchen, then you're gonna feel some of this heat too, right? So,
Right,
but
right.
I think that you can still critique Kenny Bayless without saying that the reason why he lost was because of Kenny Bayless.
Right.
Right. Well,
Right?
I mean, I know the reason he lost because he didn't have a game plan that was set for Fury's game plan. He was coming forward. He didn't think Fury was going to come forward. I honestly believe that. I don't
That's
believe that.
yeah.
I don't believe that Deontay Wilder thought that Fury was going to do what he said he was going to do. Now, had he knew that, you probably would have been seeing round 13 of that round 12. Remember, he caught him because Fury got a little cocky and he got his ass nailed because he was on the line and he got nailed straight up the pipe. And then he threw a left hook, dropped him. But Wilder thought, nah, he's gonna do the same shit he did in the first fight. I know what to do with him. He's gonna dance around. He's gonna jab me from the outside, but I'm gonna wait and I'm gonna catch him.
Yeah.
So he was waiting for Fury to overcommit to something so he could do the same thing he did in the first fight.
He wasn't expecting to be bombarded.
He wouldn't expecting all that shit from Fury. Fury said, I'm gonna beat you your shit house, you big Dawson, this, that, and the other. And I'm gonna come right at you and I'll knock you out in 2 rounds, he said. 2 rounds.
And he was so cocky, he didn't even hire a cut man because he didn't think he was
that was bad. That was
that backlash. Your ears was bleeding, everything was bleeding.
But again, he ain't the only one that did that. Fucking Mike Tyson, anybody
that does that is a silly fighter. Anyone, not just Wilder, any fighter that doesn't have a cut man in their corner is stupid.
Listen, I mean, there's the stupidity of Wilder. If you want to talk about that, like what I think was stupid, we already talked about how he took responsibility for not prepping for the costume. But I think the costume in and of itself was stupid. I think it's ugly to begin with. And then the idea, right? So just on the night, right? So I didn't. And I thought that, why the hell do you have batteries in that helmet? In that
had a battery pack. Yeah.
It's just ridiculous. Skulls and all that. Why do you need to do? It's not wrestling. It's not Halloween. Put on a glove, put on a robe, put on your glove, put on your shoes.
Smoke.
Go out there and do your thing.
Ask yourself this question, though, Smoke.
Yeah.
Did that represent Black History Month?
No. What the hell was that the thing? And you know what? And I just made that comment actually on Lady Chann's video about the Kevin Iole re-releasing the quote. I was like, that costume is now a Black History Month trivia question.
The uniform. He called it the uniform. It's a uniform.
I'm not good at any of that shit. I don't, that's that wrestling stuff. Michael Hunter coming out with ass or Gary Rush. I don't need all that. That's for pageantry, for people who the fight isn't enough for them. For some reason, people need to have the passions whipped up. They need to go in for a fighter. I just like the fights. I haven't got through 4 decades of this because I'm so interested in who is actually taking the proper amount of responsibility after a loss. I don't give a damn about this, for real, guys.
Well, the thing is, if you have that many, you're not really taking ownership of it. Now he could fair play, like you say, about the costume. If he said, well, maybe it made look, it's just another issue with him not taking full responsibility for the other guy beating him.
Yeah,
you see what I'm saying? That's all. That's really basically that's the gist of it.
Okay.
You don't want the drama. When Tyson rise up the llama, say to pray at night with your father.